day everyone, welcome to another episode of Think Out Loud, Minds on the Mic, where we talk about life, school, and whatever thoughts come to mind, providing a platform for your ideas. I'm your host, your speaker, your friend, Rebollido. With that out of the way, let's start talking. So, we all know we have this thing in our lives, thing that we want to discover. And what is that? The way of living. I've tackled in episode 4, you could go check it out if you want. In episode 4, that there will be a part in our lives where we will be questioning who we should be. In the Erik Erikson's psychosocial development chart, linked down below, you can see that by age 14 to 21, age 13 to 21, you have this sense of identity versus role confusion. And this identity versus role confusion really is one of the most pivotal points in our lives because we can see who we are or figure out who we really are. And sometimes the questioning of who I should be is sometimes blurred into the question of, should I be this? Should I conform to the social norm? And I don't really think that you should conform, but there is something. Because a lot of people, you see, they're living the same lives and some of them are happy, there are some of them are sad. So, should I conform? Well, let's see some of the philosophies. Let's tackle some of the philosophies. And I am not a philosopher. If you want to see my research down below, go down below and we will be tackling the different philosophies of life. And let's see what are the ways of living. Because again, in identity and role confusion, we're trying to figure out our identity. We're trying to figure out how to fit in. So, my question is, should I be something to be happy? Should I conform to something? Should I focus on something? Should I do something to be happy? Should there be a specific activity, specific action in my entire life that would make me happy? Well, let's tackle that. So, philosophies. So, a lot of us have different philosophies in life, different thing in life that we want to achieve. So, a lot of us are wondering who we are, especially teens. And teens, the psychosocial development of teens, especially, we are seeking answers to this stuff. This has been tackled by many philosophers. So, let's see one of them. So, philosophy. Who am I? So, let's tackle Rene Descartes' philosophy in life, and how does it tackle this struggles in life. So, if you know Rene Descartes, you might know him as the person who said, "I think, therefore I am." He answered the famous question in philosophy about how do we know that everything is real, that you are thinking, that everyone is thinking. Additionally, you might know him in the mind-body dualism. He said that the mind and the body are different, are separate. So, what does he have to say with life? So, if you want to go down below and see my research, especially I recommend School of Life. They provide wonderful insights into people's life. So, what does Rene Descartes take on life? He said, every bad thing that happens to the world is caused by confusion, bad definition, or unconscious illogicality. He says that specifically if we're confused, you're gonna do something wrong. If you're confused, you're not gonna know what's right or what's wrong. That's why we have dilemmas. Those dilemmas, you're confused by those dilemmas, especially trolley problems, Who should you save? One person or 5 person? One person you know or 5 person you don't know? So, that's the question. So, it's the confusion. So, we don't know what's right or wrong. Additionally, bad definition. One thing that leads to confusion and one thing that leads to arguments are bad definition. If I said something and it is badly defined, it is so vaguely defined, especially laws, different rules, all of those can cause wars and problems. Unconscious illogicalities, these are the things that we don't think are illogical, or this is just an instinct. For example, the want of people to do something that is very illogical if you think about it, but because it's unconscious, they do it. Because those are things that even Rene Descartes says that these are unconscious. We do not do this. So, you cannot really blame the person for consciously doing it because it's an unconscious illogicality. So, that's the thing. That he says that we should be conscious of this, we should equip the mind. Equip the mind, prepare the mind for these problems. And he says there are 6 passions: wonder, love, hate, desire, joy, and sadness. And he says any other passion are just a connection of these core passions, and what are the physiological influence of them in the human behavior. So that's basically it. So what he's saying is for us to focus on equipping the mind. Rene Descartes says that these things you should focus on. No, the disputes between countries is misunderstanding and an unconscious illogicality of pride, which is a passion of desire. The problem with the spouses or friend. If they were better equipped with rationality, they would be more understanding. It's like you think, yes, this is what I should be, because if you look at the problems in the world, this is the thing that is lacking. However, there's another thing, another philosophy that tackles not the equipment of the mind, but of just taking in what happens to you and being satisfied with it, or just being plain with it. And that is Stoicism, Stoic belief, Stoic philosophy. This is made by Zeno of Citium in Athens. What does this mean? Go to the link down below to see the full definition. But Stoicism is to pursue courage, temperance, justice, and wisdom. And again, according to Seneca, one of a Stoic believer, of all people, only those are at leisure who make time for philosophy. Only they truly live. So it's saying here, we should tackle philosophy. We should tackle life in a stoic manner, in questioning life. So instead of focusing on fixing ourselves to tackle better with people, they said just to tackle philosophy. Look at philosophy, and you will truly live. And that's not something wrong, because of course, look, philosophy is a way for life for them. Logos, logic was made by Aristotle. The idea was made by Aristotle, supported by Socrates. And according to the School of Life in the video with the Stoic, realize and endure the harsh things in life. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. And a lot of us are afraid of life. And they said, if you're just gonna prepare for the worst, hope for the best, then you're not gonna be afraid of life, because you know that there will be something good that will happen, or if something bad has happened, if the word has happened, then you're prepared. So, how about the next philosophy? How do we think that we should live? Because this is a question, what should we do in life? Should we do something in life? So, this is another thing that Socrates says. So, you might know Socrates as the father of philosophy, seen in the writings of Plato. And his belief is to have a moral duty to develop oneself. It is our moral duty to develop oneself. And he says, not a lot of people do that. It's like the same with Rene Descartes to fix ourselves. But what Rene Descartes is not more on emotions but of the mind. But Socrates says that our moral duties, our minds, our hearts should do this. And not a lot of people do that. Hence, the one part of the saying is go with the flow. A lot of people just go with the flow. And you might say, well, that's opposition with the Stoic belief. Well, I've really not dove into this topic too deep, but if you look at it, these are philosophies of life. So he says, one who has truly known life is the one whose opinions should be heard. So if you tackle life, if you question life, if you realize and you have a moral duty, if your opinion matters, because now you have a better understanding of life than the peers around you. And this is another thing that Jordan Peterson believes in. Fix yourself. If you have the ability to fix yourself, then you're gonna be sure that you're gonna be able to do these other things, because you have a sense of responsibility, you have a sense of knowledge, a sense of wisdom, a sense of understanding. And it says to focus on one's self-development and to follow what's right. Yeah, you need to focus on one's self-development. You need to follow the state, for they know what is right, and disobedience is wrong. Why? Because the government are those people who have truly known what's right. And that is why he says that the majority vote doesn't matter. Full democracy doesn't matter, because if you go to the School of Life, what if a incompetent businessman were to sway the majority, and then a doctor who has all the abilities but is very blunt with what he says, talk to the people. If the businessman swayed the majority, then they will be voting for a incompetent leader. So they said, if you learned the proper way and to not be swayed and to moral justice, to have a moral justice, then your opinions matter because you won't be swayed easily. So, which means that we should focus on ourselves. We should focus on our happiness. So what is it? Our minds? Just go with the flow or just focus on ourselves? Well, there's another thing that we're not talking about. There's something more bigger than small philosophies. And this is the Bible. The Bible, you might say, no, I'm not gonna tackle the Bible literally. I'm not gonna tackle the Bible verse by verse and say, this is what you should do. Because if you think about it, the Bible is not only stories. It's about philosophy. It's about what should we do in life. It answers the question. However, let's look at this. According to God, follow His rules. This is seen in the first and the fourth commandment. And you might say, well, that's a way of life. Go with God's flow. Well, if you look at this, according to 2 Corinthians 5:17, whoever comes to God is a new creation. The old is gone and the new is come. It is tackling self-betterment. It is tackling that you value self-development. You value fixing yourself. You value your mind, your heart, development of those, which is seen in Rene Descartes' argument as well as Socrates, as well as Aristotle. And look at this. You cannot serve both money and God. As said in Matthew 6:24, meaning that you cannot serve both your self-development and money, because money represents the things that we deem worldly, things that is not gonna fulfill us. $1,000 won't fulfill you, but if $1,000 is something that you could use to be charitable or something you could use to fix yourself, then we could say that it will make you happy. But if you think about it, you cannot serve both trying to achieve temporary things in the world. Money could be destroyed, and God or self-development. And God is all about changing you. So again, if you look at the Bible, if you look at in the 5th to 10th commandment, it says, use the general ideas, love others as yourself. And this is an idea also posed by Immanuel Kant, that you should be able to love your neighbors as yourself, because if you do something wrong, you should be okay for all the people to do it. If you stole something from a baby, you should be okay for people to steal anything from a baby. And if you're okay with hating people, you should be okay with people hating you. All the people. And it says that even here it values self-development. Take the log of your eye to point out your brother's speck. Or why are you worrying about your brother's speck when you have a log in your eye? It is according to Matthew 7:3. It is focusing on self-development, and don't judge other people by their mistakes if you have your own burdens as well. Again, also said, love one another as I love you. By this I know you are my disciples. God values change. Therefore, if you are His disciples, you will not hate each other. And this is not all love, but God said, fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Wisdom is something that Rene Descartes want to have. Focus on removing illogicalities in life. And wisdom is knowing what is true and right and just. And the fear of the Lord is hating sin or hating what's wrong. And if you have a virtue or a vice and you hate that vice, you're gonna strive to have a virtue which makes you happier, which gives you wisdom, because you would know what to properly do to not fall. But with all of this, we all think that, well, wait, there's a tons of way that you could live your life. There's a tons of way that I could conform to a social norm. But in another place, there's a social norm. In another era, there's a social norm. And even today, we're divided by social norms. However, if you look at this, I have not tackled any philosophy that states what you should do precisely. I've not tackled anything like that. None says specific actions. No philosophy says that you have a specific action that you can do to be happy. In the Bible, obey God. And the main idea of obeying God is fixing yourself. Socrates, have a moral duty to fix yourself. Rene Descartes, fix your wisdom. See, Stoicism, go with the flow. Plan for the worst, hope for the best. You can see there's different ways. You could focus on different parts of your life. And there's no particular social norm. If you try to conform to the social norm, it's just your imaginary audience is what the majority is doing. What the majority is doing is not always the social norm. Sometimes the majority try to oppose the social norm. Therefore, you think that it is the new social norm. It is the new social thing and the new cool thing. The social norm is to be polite, if you say polite. But a lot of people are cussing at one another. You might think, well, what's the social norm? Is it the majority is rebellious or the minority is the social norm? So it's very weird. But if you think about it, none says specific actions to do to be happy, but guidelines, beliefs, and ideas to live by. You don't live fixing yourself, live by fixing yourself. The idea of fixing yourself is something that you do day by day. It's not something that you should do in a week and then you're done. You know, a lot of self-help books says that do these things, do the specific actions, and then you will be happy. But in reality, it doesn't happen. If you see a lot of successful people, they're fixing themselves every day, every single day. Reflecting. Some of them meditate. And look at this. There's no solution to life struggles. There's only a formula to understand and explain it and to receive it. Formula to be happy and to just be able to not be worried by this thing. But there's no solution to life struggle. There are only ways and mentalities to adopt rather than ideas to copy. If you copy someone's life, you won't be as happy as they are because you have your own ideas, you have your own things, you have your own mentalities, you have your own belief. And if you try to copy someone, maybe it's not suit for you. And non-lifestyle would be suit for you if you just copy the lifestyle of a person. If you try to copy Bill Gates, then you might not be happy because some of what he does you might deem boring, or what you might deem stupid, or what you might deem sad or time consuming. And this is really something that we need to tackle because we think that we should copy someone and we would be happy. And if you think about it, there's none there. I had a friend before. I'm not gonna say her name, but it is a her. She is a her. So my friend, we were fighting. I was the only one who was saying that if you had a boyfriend or a relationship at a young age, you would cry. You would cry. It will bring you sadness because we're too young to know these things or to do these things. It's okay to know about these things, but to do these things, to take part in those things, we're too young for that. And she said, you don't know what you're doing, you're just stupid. And I said, maybe I should conform. Maybe I should be accepting of what they do. Maybe I should change myself and not say what I think is correct and what I think is fundamentally gonna be is able to save them. Not save them, but fundamentally gonna be enlightening. So that I should conform. I try to be nicer. I try to be less outspoken. And then I recently talked to her and then she said, Mark, I learned so much from you that I should not be conforming and tolerating too much to what the majority says. Because I feel what you're feeling. I'm saying what's right and they are teasing me. And I'm like, this is amazing because I thought I was the one who should conform, that they are the social norm. When in reality, she's the one also trying to copy me. And I'm trying to copy her. So, if you look at it, there's no right thing. My lifestyle is making her realize that I'm correct. Her lifestyle is making me realize that she's correct. So, there's no lifestyle that we could copy and we would be happy. There's something only that we can adopt, we could live by. We could live by virtues, values, believing in God, believing in something. We can live by it, but we can never live it. Because if we try to live it, then we won't be happy because we feel like a robot. We don't have free will anymore. So what are the solutions? I said there's no solutions to life, but this is the main conclusion. There's a better conclusion than the main conclusion. You are your own person, and the only way to be happy is if you find a way to be good to others and to not value stuff which is not meant sentiment to you. If we realize that we're all individuals, we're all the people who have this different beliefs, different wants, different things that we strive for. That's good. And values and virtues are a way of living and not the what of living. You could live being good, being charitable. But if you live your life, your entire life, charitable because it's not your passion, but because it says it's a virtue that you should copy, then you're not gonna be happy. If your virtues to help people, and that's really something instilled in you, then you're gonna be happy, you're gonna live by it. And that's something. You don't need to conform to something, you don't need to conform to accept something, you don't need to be okay with something. Just because people are yelling it, people are doing it, people are saying it, or the adults are saying it. If you think that it is foolish and you think that there's a better way for your life, because if you try to say your life, force another person to copy it, their life might be half as satisfying as yours, because no life is worth copying if you don't have free will and you just copy their day by day. So realize that your own person, and you can take some of these philosophies with you, live by them, live for self-development, mind development, preparing for the worst and hoping for the best. You could get them all, and maybe you will be happy. But all of us are tackling these philosophies in life. And comment down below what you think. That's it. Comment down what you think below, and I will tackle them in the bonus episode in my Anchor. You could go down below to see my Anchor, and subscribe for additional contents. If you want to see, I would be doing a new series talking about how to school, Tagalog and English, on different topics about math. And if you need tutoring, you could message me. And that's all. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. This is Mark Rebollido for Think Out Loud, and signing out.